Good
Welcome.
evening, everybody.
There you go. Go ahead, bring us in, Mike. I'm still trying to get all this stuff going here.
Good Monday evening, everybody. Welcome to the show. This week's fishing reports from the Gulf Coast, from down there near Bradenton, Sarasota, all the way up to here, Crystal River, and all points in between. I do this every week and just kind of give a fishing report and tell you what's going on out there, along with guests every once in a while.
Next week, from what I understand, the guy from Optima is actually coming into my studio to do.
So we're gonna have Jim back on again.
Yeah, because I mean, I thought he had a lot of good stuff, but
he does. Yeah, there's a lot of information still that I think we missed just because of technical difficulties. Nothing that anybody did; it just seemed to happen. So
it's just like with Eddie Caldwell. We always had so much problems with Eddie Caldwell. I don't know why.
Yeah. Well, when you do this, everybody's got their own location and try to do it. It's challenging. So we got a good producer, Hota, to help us out.
Oh man, Hota's terrific. What can I tell you? All right.
I see him smiling on the camera. Yeah. I'll keep saying it there, Hota. Yep. Keep saying it.
Keep up the good work, my man.
Yeah.
So I think we were talking just before we got on the air. I'm looking at all the weather forecasts for the week, and actually shows tomorrow and Wednesday as the two most beautiful days of the week. Okay. Then it's going to get a little shaky on Thursday, and by Friday morning, this area windy. My app that I use all the time in Windfinder, they're calling from anywhere between at 8 o'clock 13 to 20 something to by 11 o'clock 16 to 20 something.
Oh wow.
But it's going to get really cold. I mean, get down in your area. It's going to be down in the 50s.
Yeah. Hey, I'm kind of interested in I really want some cooler weather. I enjoy the warmth. There's no doubt I'm a Florida native, but I do enjoy the cooler weather, especially when it comes to fishing. And that right there, I think that front's probably going to finally trigger those trout to kind of move in closer. And that's what I enjoy, because it's just so much fun to constantly sit there and catch trout one after the other.
There's no question about it.
It keeps clients entertained. It puts meat on the table, and it's really fun. But it'll trigger a lot of fish just to kick off and get going for the wintertime. So I'm excited. I don't mind wearing some jeans and shirts and not sweating all day. That'd be perfect.
Hey, I'm wearing now, because as the older you get, the smarter I'm getting with my dermatologist. I'm wearing long pants all the time now. Yeah. I used to wear shorts, always wore long sleeves, but now I'm starting to wear the long pants too, just to be safe.
Yeah, you rarely see me anywhere without long sleeves. It's just something I've gotten used to, just because the skin is so thin. Stiff breeze will make me bleed. It's just been damaged so much. So yeah, it's something you got to protect.
And I think what we're going to do is, Donald, around 7:30, we'll put your pictures up on the screen. So when you see about 30 seconds before, when you see the pictures show up, kind of let us know what was going on, and Mike and I will talk about it. Okay. So about 7:30, we'll do that with your pictures that you sent in. And we got some pretty good fishing reports this week. We got actually Jessica just couldn't do it, but we got Tony, we got Scott, we got Jim, we got Pam. So it's and actually last week, like I said, the bite was good for grouper and shallow water, and now Hota and I are really looking forward to going out with you next month. And I don't want you to feel any pressure.
Oh no, none at all.
No. Don't feel like there's any pressure being put on you.
No, not at all. No,
there's not.
We just go out and have some fun. But yeah, I'm that's the other reason why I'm anticipating this front to come through, because I've got some rocks that are so close to shore that my groupers sit on, and I enjoy catching them. They're just so much fun. So I'm really looking forward to them getting real close to inshore, and I don't have to go as far to try to find them if my client wants to grab a hold of one. So yeah, it's going to be fun. We'll have that little cooler weather, and things should really, really kick off very well. So,
And that's what I want to do tomorrow. I mean, I'm just going to go out looking around. I got all these numbers that I came up with in the shifts channel, and I just want to check them out. But God, the weather's been so lousy that you go out there and you got 3 foot seas. It's kind of hard to really,
yeah,
look for it. So
yeah,
tomorrow it
the
looks
winds
pretty
have been
good. We're going to
definitely
run out.
variable.
Yeah. It says 4 to 7. I think that's about it for tomorrow and Wednesday.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, Thursday, it looks like everything's going to break loose on us.
Yeah,
So,
right now I've got a plan to be out there on Wednesday, so that's a good thing. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, it's going to be it's kind of like yesterday. We're doing a little work on a friend's boat, and they were like, "Well, hey, let's go fishing real quick. You got that fixed? Let's go fishing." I'm like, "Have you not seen the weather?" About an hour later, it just started pouring. I said, "That's why we didn't go."
That's why I didn't go. Yeah, we had some heavy rains and wind come by, and it only lasted like 35, 40 minutes.
Mhm.
But I noticed this morning, my neighbor had 2 or 3 limbs off an oak tree break through. I got some limbs in my backyard. We had some real high gust winds.
Oh,
Yeah. So, I
yeah,
mean, I
we
don't know
did.
about you, but we must have had 40 to 50-mile-an-hour winds, but
No,
not long.
yeah,
Like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, like something just came through.
yeah. There was a little squall line, and we watched it for a little bit, and I thought the winds would really, really kick up, but it just got really, really just wet real quick. A little bit of thunder, but it was a nice, good rain. We haven't had it up here in a while, so enjoyed it.
Yeah, it ain't going to hurt anything. Now,
No,
let's start talking a little bit about this scenario. We'll start with your area, then we can talk about my area, and anybody else that's listening in can put their thoughts into it. We're going to definitely get a drop in temperature and water temperature, and I expect it always happens by Halloween. We have a pretty good cool
yeah,
weather.
yeah.
Uh, what do you see in your area? What's going to happen? What transition? The trout's going to turn on? What's going to turn off?
Yeah, the trout will definitely turn on. They'll start to move closer inshore toward the rivers and toward the backcountry because they'll get stacked up in Homosassa River, Crystal River, the Barge Canal, with the Coochie. They just kind of get stacked up in those areas, so they'll start to come in because most of those rivers are going to stay, relatively decent temperatures all winter. So they're going to start coming in to get staged up before they start running into these backwaters. And that's usually once we get that first good cold front come through to drop those temperatures, that's when those fish really start to move. And that's what's so exciting.
Well,
The redfish and all that, they're still plenty around. They're still active, but it might shut them down for a day or so, but they don't mind the cold waters.
your
They
snook is the
just
one that's going to go. They'll just go into the springs. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, the snook bite will probably drop just a little bit unless you get a nice warm day. You got a south facing bank that's kind of warmed up enough. As long as the temperature doesn't hit, upper 60s, around 67, 68 degrees, you're okay. You're still going to catch a number of snook, but it's usually about that 66 degree where the snook just kind of shut down, and then they'll find the river. And then once they move into the river, then you can start catching them inside the river, Crystal River
Now the
especially.
river's always going to be a little warmer anyway
Correct,
because
because
you
of all
got
the
all that
springs.
decaying stuff, the dark bottom. So if you
Hmm.
get sunny days, that river water temperature is going to be a few degrees warmer. But again, the springs are normally around 72 degrees
Yeah,
all year
72
round.
degrees all year long. So in the wintertime, it's kind of nice that, we don't have to go as far because most of the time we're traveling anywhere between 13 to 20 miles out from Crystal River area, our launch location, all the way out to get to the mangroves. I mean, it's a long, long haul. And so in the wintertime, when all these fish come into the river, it's kind of nice. We don't use as much gas. We could just go straight down there, start catching a whole bunch of fish, and come straight back.
Yeah.
Um, so it's kind of nice to have that happen. The other thing that's we're checking on, we looked at it a couple weeks ago. We'll probably get out there, not this week, but maybe next week after the front. Those tarpon start to get bunched up as well in some of the canals. So we're hoping they're always big tarpon. but we're hoping that'll happen as well because it's pretty fun to hit them in those areas.
Yeah. Now, why is it there's not a lot of boat ramps towards the mouth of the river, is it? Almost all of them are right.
It's still natural Florida. It won't be developed. It'll never be developed. So we have limited boat ramps here. I think we have on Crystal River, we have only 3 public boat ramps, and the one's at the end of Fort Island Trail, one's in the middle, and then you have Pete's Pier, and that's it for the river. Now, Homosassa, they've got a couple there as well near McRae's, and one I think a little farther east of that.
Which is the one that's at the park at home? Well, that's Chassahowiska.
Yeah, and Chassahowiska has them. So we're limited on how many locations you can put your boat in, limited on parking and all that. But I have seen it's been brought up quite enough times at the commissioners' meetings that they are actually thinking about either expanding the parking lot or looking to find another place to put another boat ramp because it's so busy. It's insane. People are having to walk almost a mile just to get to park their car or trailer. And it's usually on the side of the road, which is Fort Island Trail, which is not a great road in the first place. And so hopefully that'll happen in the future, but there's no development down there in and around the mouth of the river because it's all sawgrass. It's rocky limestone, hard bottom. It's just nasty. And I believe majority of it's a preserve anyway right now. So it's all nice protected area. It'll always stay that way, which is what Florida should have done a long time ago. But hey,
it's better that it's protected than a bunch of asphalt and concrete roads all over the place.
Yeah, because that does nothing but give you more runoff and destroys the water anyway. So, yeah.
Now you're going to get the river. Does it get any cleaner because of the cold weather?
It does. It cleans up. You get the algae blooms dying, and you get more of the spring water just pushing through because we have negative tides. So the tide runs out even farther, and that clear water tends to push out a little bit more. We're still dealing with the last 2 years of hurricane and being flooded and salt water killing the grasses. But from what I'm understanding from a lot of the people who are snorkeling out there with manatee, et cetera, the grasses are starting to grow. But now we're already in the fall, which they'll die back and then won't happen till next spring. So we'll have clearer water, but it won't be crystal clear in Crystal River for quite some time. I think it's going to take a couple of years for that to happen again.
Now, how does that affect your fishing? Because you get a negative tide, so that means you have a lot more fresh water further down the river, correct?
That's correct.
Does that affect some of the species that you might catch? Let's say you got an area a third of the way out from where you launch at. Does that affect your fishing in that area because of negative tides and all the extra fresh water?
Not necessarily, because fresh and salt water, they a lot of times they don't mix. And then when you have it in a river system, you get the influx of salt river. Well, it's heavier, so it's going to sink a little bit more. So mostly your fish, especially on an outgoing tide, they're dropping a little bit farther down in the water column because that's where the salinity is a little better because the fresh water will ride on top of that salt water. So we don't have, the trout are still in there. You got the sheep's head, which are, they can tolerate fresh water. Redfish can tolerate it. Snook can tolerate it. We know tarpon can tolerate it. Mangrove snappers can tolerate it. I mean, we have mangrove snapper nursery in a lot of the springs right there in, say, Hunter Springs or Three Sisters areas. There's a lot of juvenile mangrove snapper. They can definitely live in the fresh water without any salinity. So you still have a lot of those fish that just thrive in fresh water. They don't necessarily have to have that salt. The only one that is very susceptible to it is the trout. They tend to have that salinity. So a lot of times if it's really, really negative or anything, they may back down the river a little bit for a while until we get an influx of salt, and then they'll just kind of move on with it. But for the most part, it doesn't seem to affect them too much.
Now, this last Friday, I had the ESPN tournament out of
Mhm.
downtown Tampa, and it was pretty breezy. So I mean, a few guys always out of 40 boats, we had probably 7 or 8 that ventured out way out towards, Bishop's Harbor and in that area, but a lot of them stayed pretty close to the river because it
Mhm.
was pretty. And I was amazed. Not a lot of snook caught, but the ones that were caught were in the 26 to biggest 29 and 3/4. But
Mhm.
there was quite a few of really nice redfish caught.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is, when I was younger, in my other lifetime, I used to work there at Tampa General in the ER, trauma ER. And for lunch, I would go out there and sit on that seawall right there on the river. And I could sit there and look down and see redfish, see sheep's head, see mangrove snapper, all those type of fish. And yeah, they thrive in that environment, that brackish salt slash fresh water. um, and they have no problem with the salinity levels of fresh water. It's just enough for them to survive. So yeah, sometimes they like to go into that river just because it's a different. There's different bait. There's different food. Um, there's a little more protection. There's many reasons why they do that.
I mean,
So
last year, the first place team, the big, it was total inches, redfish, snook, and trout. It
mhm,
was caught in the river.
mhm.
First place team caught all their fish and had the biggest total inches, and it was all caught in the river. They
Yeah,
never left the river.
no,
The thinking was, well, it's same way, always October, you get windy weather.
mhm,
And a lot of them were thinking, by the time we run 35, 40 minutes to get where we want to go and 35, 40 minutes to get back, maybe we ought to spend half of that time trying to catch fish closer to where we're at.
yeah,
And apparently it worked out good for them.
yeah. There's a lot of snook caught in the wintertime in the river. I mean, they get stacked up, and some big snook too.
They catch some nice triple tails
Yeah, yeah,
in that river.
yeah. No doubt, no doubt. In fact, there's been a few caught recently. I have found them and fished for them, but just circumstances, whatever, too windy, whatever. I just have not been able to hook up just yet. I'm still anticipating trying to. But my window is closing quickly from where I normally get them.
Now, on that note, how's your boat coming?
It's good. I got the survey coming tomorrow. He'll be here
All
at 8:30
right.
in the morning. And once that happens, wait for that paperwork, and I'll be back on the water here. So
Got our fingers
it's
crossed that because the guy, he should pass you, right?
oh
He
yeah, yeah.
should.
Again, it has nothing to
So
do with the
just a
total
formality.
damage to the boat. It had everything to do with the insurance policy. So, and that was a fight, like I said, and I sort of won, but not really. So one of those
Well,
things.
that happens, And
Hmm.
now down here, what I think normally what's going to happen is number one is once we start getting cool weather, like you said, the algae bloom's going to go down, the water's going to get really clean. And one of the things that I teach everybody, I tell them, look, guys, there's certain days if you got after the water gets cold and starts getting really clean, and you got these real negative tides, that during that negative time when you really can't do much, start looking, and that's how you learn the bottom.
Oh yeah.
And over the years, I found places that most of the years in 10 feet of water,
Hmm.
12 feet of water, you'll never see the bottom,
Yeah.
8 feet of water. But in the winter, I found a set of grass flats in 15 feet of water, years ago, because the water was so clean that year. And I'm walking and I look and you can see the salt and pepper bottom in
Yeah.
15 feet of water.
Right.
And you know what? Certain times of the year, there's a lot of flounder in
Oh,
those deep
definitely.
water flats.
Yeah.
So, I tell people this is a good time to go around a lot of the areas and look for that little oyster bar, or look for that little cut, or look for that one little rock, that nobody knows it's there, but you can
Hmm.
see it now. Although it's in 8 feet of water, normally it would be 12 feet of water, and because the water is really not really clean because of the algae bloom, you never see it, but you saw it today. Now you might not see it tomorrow. In other
Hmm.
words, it's a hit or miss sometimes. Yeah,
Yeah.
that water's you just got to, but now you got it someplace new. that you have a good chance of catching fish that nobody else has.
Yeah. Well, I heard some information some years back, and I took it to heart, of a charter captain who would go out in these low tides, negative tides, can't really do fishing. Front came through, you got to look at the bluebird skies, and there's no wind. And usually those days are beautiful, but the bite just really isn't there. So what they end up doing is just you go out there either with somebody that's got a tower in the boat, or you got a little higher view, and just start slowly cruising the flats out there, finding those little divots, all those little potholes, those rocks,
Right.
anything that you can that you may not have known during the summertime, and just start marking them and don't fish them. And what he had said, and something I've done, I just say, hey, we're going for a boat ride. Don't even take our fishing rod. Because unfortunately, what happens with us, we put a rod in the boat, we're going to want to see if there's fish there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And we're going to stop, and we're going to not concentrate on trying to find new ground to fish. And that's a lot of my scouting days, especially after a good cold front. You got no breeze going, bluebird skies.
Real
It's just
negative
beautiful
tide.
out there.
I mean, 0-0.
Yeah. You just take your boat out and run and look for those spots that you may not have seen. I mean, honestly, it's one of the reasons why I found a grouper hole so close to shore. It just happened to be one of those days that, just happened to see something, went, that's interesting. Let me mark that. And I went back there to fish it a couple days later, and I was surprised at what I found and what I caught. And I've caught everything from grouper to sea bass to grunts to mangrove snapper, all just all on this one little rock that I guarantee everybody in the world has gone over it at one point or another, because it's in a common area, so to speak. So, it's just one of those things that you never know what you're going to find out there. And you got nothing else to do. It's boring. You really can't go fishing or anything else like that, but hey, you can explore. And then the next time you go fishing, it might be even better.
And the other thing too, Mike, is that everybody's got these charts, and even on your GPS and avionics or whatever, near shore, along the shoreline in some of those areas, the information that's there is 30 years old, 40
Mhm.
years old,
Yeah.
because, they're not going to go and survey an area that boats aren't supposed to be in.
Right.
They do the areas of the main channels, the
Mhm.
cuts. And I can tell you, if you look around like 4th Street on the north end of, Howard Franklin, St. Pete side, if you look at all the charts and everything, there's an island there called Big Island.
Yeah, I know.
Is
Yeah.
there?
Yep.
And if you look between Big Island and the shoreline, it shows about a foot of water, foot and a
Mhm.
half. There's 8 to 12 feet of water there.
Yeah.
That whole area was dredged out when they were building the Howard Franklin.
Mhm.
But the Coast Guard, it doesn't go in there
No,
to check the bottom, because you're not supposed to be in there.
correct.
And if you follow the shoreline, a lot of it now, if you go to Google Earth and you got one of those like Florida Marine Tracks that superimposes, you'd be surprised. You're running along Howard Franklin, the road going to Big Island. You can see the deep dark color of this, looks like a long winding creek that
Mhm.
takes you all the way to Big Island. But if you look at your regular chart or your regular GPS, it shows it all shallow.
Yeah. 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 The updating on a lot of those maps and stuff, they don't do it because it's not navigable waters, and that's their whole thing is making sure people understand where navigable waters are. And other than that, you do it at your own risk. So it's always good to get out there and like I said, just leave the poles behind and just go have a good, fun boat ride and explore.
I mean,
you'd be
for
surprised how much
example,
you find.
I found, and I'm sure other people have probably found it over the years, but there's a fiberglass 16-foot boat that's almost buried and off of Wheaton Island, not that
Mhm.
far from shore, in about 4.5 feet of water. I don't know
Mhm.
how it got there. It must have sunk. I never remember, as long as I've been fishing, I never saw it out of the water.
Yeah.
But about 5, 6 years ago, I was on the tower, like you said, negative tides. I was just kind of looking around, and I see the top part, no motor, the top part of this boat that's probably just thinking about a foot above the bottom, okay? But it's in 4 feet of water
Yeah.
at low tide. You should have seen the amount of sheath head that was sitting on that little 16-foot wreck of an old boat.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. In fact, there's a very large sunken boat and very popular. It's inside the island, but there's a very large shell of a boat over there in Sandy Hook inside the mangrove, and I guarantee nobody really. There's only a few people that I know who do it, and it's usually charter captains who know it's there, just because we tend to explore a little bit. But you don't know it's there until you in the wintertime. But it's big, and believe it or not, it's got a very, very dark bottom in there. They got a lot of mud in there. And a lot of times I'll find that thing in the wintertime stacked full of redfish because it's got that dark bottom. It's protected by wind, and there's some big fish in there. So, it's just one of those things. It's that if you go exploring, it's amazing what you can find to help you out the next few times that you go. I found a spring, and it really wasn't on negative tides because you have to go into the mangroves. So I had to do it on a higher tide, but I'll go in there, and I found an old spring way back in the mangroves. They used to have an iron gate out front of it. And I haven't found the story on it, but my guess is it was probably an old spring that people used to dive, and probably a few people died in it. And they cordoned it off with an old iron gate. But after a while, I think you can't really see the spring, but it's completely circular. Doesn't seem to be any water coming out of it. But why would you have this big iron gate here? And especially when it's right off, there's only one channel to get into it.
Right.
And it's all a bunch of limestone everywhere around there. So my theory was it was an old spring. They finally had enough of people trying to dive that thing and being killed that they blew it up, and it's all filled in now. But the iron gate was still there, and it's submerged. But yeah, there's old locks on it and everything.
Well, let's do this. Let's get that, Donald. We're gonna we'll get Hota to put your pictures up. So get ready and start posting what you caught. So and there it is. There's some of the pictures, and let's see if Donald comes through. Come on now. We're counting on you, Donald. Look at that. That's a nice red fish. But next time, try to get a full picture of the fish, Donald.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to reach those fish out with that arm length.
How big were they?
Picture.
How big were those fish?
So he's got a 39-inch snook, is what he said.
Yeah, but come on.
Oh, that was at a different
No, that was before. Yeah.
Where are you, Donald?
Where are you, Donald? What happened?
He probably can't type fast enough.
Oh, I know it. He's trying. There you go, Donald. Snook and reds. Well, how big were they? Because we all we see is just part of it.
Yeah.
And how many was caught? How many people did you have fishing in that little tournament of yours? You got to type faster. Usually it's pretty good.
Yeah.
There you go. Donald, okay, the snook was 23.5. What about the redfish?
19.5.
19.5. And what else was caught in your tournament? Any spectacular, any real big fish or something different? Get you a better phone with a better camera.
There you go.
There you go.
No, just 5 of them, not a tournament.
Okay. Well, there was 8.
Hey, it was a good day.
But 5 was a good day.
Yeah. Yeah, good day.
What did you use for bait? Was it live shrimp, sardine, artificials?
Well, it looks like I see a DOA on the back of a jig on one of those pictures.
Yeah.
Little chartreuse tip DOA.
There you go. Trout and ladyfish. Just an outing. Okay.
Okay, cool.
As long as everybody had a good time. That's what counts,
Yeah. And like I said, Anybody else wants to send in your pictures, just please do. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Just kind of type like we did with Donald there.
You can send
Let
it
us
to
know what
Mike
you're
or,
getting
or
out
send
there.
it to me, and and then we'll make sure that Hota gets it so he can post it.
Yeah, we got to have it. We got to have it by Sunday, though.
Yeah, but
Gotta send them in by
Sunday
Sunday.
afternoon, because if not, it puts a lot of pressure on him trying to get everything ready for Monday night.
Yeah.
But so let's see. Why don't we? Well, we get. Let's see. All one bait. A 12 fathom paddle tail, 3-inch fat Sam mullet and new penny.
Oh, love
All
that
right.
new penny.
Yeah, yeah. That's a good color.
It is.
That color's been around for so many years. People, because different companies they can't name it all the same,
Right.
but it's all the same color. Just one
Mhm.
color, new penny. Something calls it something else. But all right, let's get Tony Franklin's fishing report in.
Sounds good.
Hi, this is Captain Tony Franklin back once again with this week's fishing report. The action's been fairly good. We've got towards the end of the week, we had quite a bit of wind come in on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So fished around the wind a little bit. The fishing conditions weren't ideal, but we have still been catching a lot of trout. Trout bite was good. It's getting some small sharks. We are catching a few snook. Broke off a couple of big ones this week, so that's looking good. The water temperatures come down a little bit, about 83, 84 degrees, possibly 85, depending on what day, which way the tide's flowing. The outgoing tide has worked the best once again this week. There's been action around Jack Crevalles. There's been mackerel around, but they're not staying around, so they're here one day and gone the next. Like I said, Jack Crevalle's been around for action. Been plenty of ladyfish. We are catching some redfish, mostly singles. Not really finding them schooled up. They're around the mangroves right up against the mangrove bushes, so they're right up under there. Same thing with the snook on the higher tide. They're pinned under these mangroves, trying to stay away from the dolphins, and dolphins have been causing quite a bit of issue here lately. But the trout bite's great. There's been plenty of action out there, so get out on the water. The weather's getting really nice. Get out on the water, catch some fish, tight lines. I'll see you next week.
Thank you, Tony.
All right, Tony. Thank you. Yeah, I didn't see a lot of boats on the water last week, and it was funnier in your area. I think the whole time we were fishing, we saw one other boat.
Yeah. It's hit or miss. I mean, we're starting to get this week was a little busy. I know the middle boat ramp because we were pulling a friend's boat out, and it was still a little busy there. It was busier than I thought it was, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was still busy, but it was a nice day out too. So I think that makes a big difference. But yeah, we're still pretty busy here. The snowbirds start to come and people start to bring their boats out for the winter time. But did you guys go out of Homosassa or Crystal River?
We went out of Crystal River way at the end of the river. I mean, from where his boat was, it took us less than 10 minutes to get out into the Gulf.
So you probably were at the end of Fort Island Trail at the beach.
It was right next to that marine place.
Marine place.
It's like a school.
Twin Rivers.
It was like a school.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's right. Louis. I forget. Louis out of oh Lord, Shrimp Landing.
Okay.
Yeah, Shrimp Landing. Yeah,
there's no boat
place to
ramp
get
there.
from.
He says that there's a boat ramp not too far from there.
Yeah, it's the one. It's the public one right there at Fort Island Trail. That's the boat ramp there.
And nobody uses that one, or?
Oh no, they use it quite a bit
Quite
actually.
a bit, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm thinking that saves you that long run through the river. I'd rather pull the
it
boat
does.
there.
Yeah, it does. And even the one at the end of Fort Island Trail, I mean, you're right there in the Gulf from it, but it's very limited parking. I think there's only like 20 parking spots, if that.
Oh, wow.
So, and even at the middle ramp, Fort Island Trail, I would guess maybe 50 parking spots, and then you are, you're on the side of the road or in the grass or wherever you can find to put a trailer. So that's the problem we have with Crystal River. It's growing, but nobody's looking at the boat ramps or anything else like that. And being the fact that we're such a magnet for outdoors in fishing. I mean, it's one big draw is boating and the Crystal River and everything here. Why the county and the city have not
Now,
addressed this,
isn't
I'm not sure.
the county in Crystal River is what county?
Citrus County.
Citrus. Aren't they doing a lot of advertising?
They are.
Promoting. What
They are.
magazines are they in?
Oh Lord, there's quite a number. I mean, they're in with got a
C.A. Richardson is in one of them. I
yeah.
think.
There's just so many different articles that come out of here, so they go in different publications. There's Nature's Coast. There's Anglers.
Do
There's
you
a
have
few
any of those at
publications.
your house that you can take a picture of and just text it to me?
I can. I don't think I have one here, but I can definitely get it real quick. It won't take me long.
Yeah, if you can get me 2 or 3 from the different publications. This Tampa's looking at starting to. I talked to the guy today. We're talking about maybe starting to promote Tampa. Because they don't. I noticed Pinellas County's doing it, Pasco County's doing it, and City of Tampa doesn't do much.
Mhm.
It's it's the county that's supposed to be doing it, but I never see anything from anywhere about the county doing anything to promote fishing in the Tampa Bay waters.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Yeah.
it's a shame because if you look at this tournament I just did Friday, 40 boats, ESPN, people just love it. And it could bring a lot of business to the hotels downtown. I mean,
Mhm.
they're so focused on promoting the boardwalk and a lot of this, but just think if they just spent a little more and just promoted on top of all of that, great fishing.
Yeah.
But right from your, I mean, most of these hotels you can pick them up right at the hotel,
Mhm.
or you can pick them, just down the street from there.
Yeah.
And I think it would be a plus for all the downtown businesses to
Oh,
take
it
advantage
is.
of it.
It is. And you get pushback in this area here because it's such a small town and they want to remain a small town. But unfortunately, I've lived here all my life and I know you've seen it too. It doesn't take long for places to grow up real quick. And Florida is expanding everywhere. There's people everywhere.
I can tell
And
you where I'm at. Just I moved
yeah.
up here because it was so good. Now in the last 20 years, it's
Mhm.
like it went from woods to, thank God where I'm at is everything's still an acre and there's no subdivision. But you leave my house and in 10 minutes, actually about 12 minutes, you're on State Road 54 and you got every car dealership, all these restaurants. They're
Yeah.
going to 6-lane it. And it used to be a 2-lane little road with nothing.
Mhm.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I know. Crystal River used to be one of those things. Is once when we left, when we were going up north to visit family or whatever, Dad always loved to do 19. And once we hit past Weeki Wachee, we knew we were in the clear from any traffic or anything. Now you've got to get past Inglis, basically, up here from 19 traffic. It's getting that bad, and it's just going to continue. And they can either be on the cusp of it and help promote the tourism and the fishing industry that we have here. Their main focus obviously is on the manatee always, because it's we're the only place in the world you can swim with them. But there's other weens. I mean, we've got more kayaks out on the water than we have boats, which is aggravating in itself. But the fishing industry, is lacking. The amount of parking, the amount of boat ramps, the amount of availability for people to enjoy the water on their own personal boat is very limited, and it's a shame.
So let's see if it gets better. All right, let's get Scotty Rowe.
Hello, everybody. This is Captain Scotty Rowe from Charlotte Harbor. Another great few weeks on the water. I kind of moved operations out to the Bacita area. I've been running my boat out of Eldridge Marina. I primarily do fish Port Charlotte, Punta Gorda, but the bait situation up there has been a little bit tricky. Still getting it, but just you got to really, really earn it. So I moved everything out to Bacita just because the bait's so easy out there. And another thing too, out that way in the Bacita, Boca Grande area, the redfish bite is just so much easier. And you'll see in some of the photos I share, so there's some beautiful upper slot redfish, some oversized. But I will tell you, on those redfish, if you're specifically targeting redfish, we are catching them on pinfish with a split shot. And actually, I've been catching more on cut ladyfish. And of course, out that way, and even in the upper harbor, snook bite is just everywhere. Today, really ran into some really cool things. We caught 4 barracuda. Little guys, little 18, 20 inchers, but definitely kind of neat to see. But 4 of them in one day, and for this area, that's very, very cool. Beautiful mangrove snapper today, up to 12, 13, 14 inches. Trout bite. Anywhere you go out there, Bull Bay, Turtle Bay, Whidden Creek, just find that grass and 3 foot of water. You don't even need bait to do that, but you can just use any kind of assassin paddle tail works just fine. So, but we are in transition from summer to fall. The water temp's coming down, so you're going to definitely see some changes out there. So, and I expect things to change next week, and my report will probably change next week. So, but tight lines, everybody. We're catching them up here in Charlotte Harbor, Boca Grande. If y'all want to stretch some strings and have some fun, let's go do it. Look forward to hearing from you. Tight lines, everybody.
And something he said, Mike, that most of his fish are coming cut bait.
Mm-hmm.
Last week, I had greenbacks, live shrimp, dead shrimp, and then we got a few mango snapper, we got a sheephead, and it was a little slow in the morning. And one of the clients caught 2 ladyfish, and they were perfect. They were the smaller ladyfish, so when you cut the chunks, they weren't real big, but they were nice.
Yeah.
4 redfish.
Mm-hmm.
On the cut bait. As soon as we started putting cut ladyfish, bam, we started getting some really hard hits. We lost a pretty good sized redfish, landed 4. The people that were still using live shrimp, they weren't even getting a bite. People with greenbacks weren't getting a bite.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing they were getting on the shrimp was sheephead and some mango snapper.
Yeah. Yeah, it's happened to me too. I mean, in fact, the report, some of the pictures I've got there, the majority of those fish came from cut ladyfish. It just seemed to be the right ticket. And then, we had shrimp, we had live pins. They just seemed to prefer that day. That's why it's just essential when you go out, not sticking to one specific bait, because you never know. And it could be turned from a bad day to a successful day by using some cut bait. And everybody, there's a lot of people who are against it, but I'm telling you, it works.
If it catches fish, that's what we want for the clients. Plus, if I'm fishing, I want to fight the fish. So I don't care if it's cut bait. It's what they want. Let's give it to them,
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
why not do it? It's kind of crazy. So let's see. We got Donald taken care of. Let's get, so we don't fall behind. Let's get Pam Worth.
Sure.
All right, hold up. We got Pam.
Hey, welcome back. This is Pam from Tampa Fishing Outfitters, your kayak angler. I'm back in Florida this weekend, so I headed up to the Nature Coast. And I want to tell you, October is pumpkin month. I caught so many nice reds between 24 and 26. Beautiful color on them. Easy application. Look for cuts. They're out on the flats. Look for your ambush points. They were at every single corner. It was great. The bait that I like to use, or that was very, very successful for me this weekend, is a jerk type bait. Jerk bait, fluke. It depends if you're fresh or saltwater, what you're going to call it. Here are 3 of my favorites. You have the Gulp, the DOA, and one I just started using that was very successful this weekend is the Southern Bait from Southern Bait Company, and they call it the Hoodwick. As always, I like to keep my presentation weedless, so the Owner Twist-Lock hook was my go-to. If you have any questions, holler at me, and tight lines.
All right. Thank you.
Pam. Let's slide back into the screen.
Yeah. Let's see. Donald says the poor redfish is breathing heavy. She has it out of the water too long.
It's probably from a big fight.
That probably is what it is, Donald. You
'Cause
know?
let me tell you, pulling those big fish out of a kayak is not easy. I will give y'all props out there on kayaks because when this past Memorial Day weekend, we decided to take the kayaks out, do a little fishing. And yeah, when you're used to a boat with an anchor system and you could just pull on it and do whatever you can, and you're in a kayak that moves, that fish pulled me into the mangrove so many times. I can't even, I was struggling.
The only kayak that I think I would feel comfortable in if it was at least 3.5 foot wide and it had pontoons on each side, because my balance on a kayak is not the best in the world. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's why I used to like remember when I think Todd used to have one, and there's another company that Runabout, which was like a round
Mhm.
kayak.
Yeah.
You could get all over the place with that. And
Yeah.
that one didn't flip on you, you know?
No, it takes a little extra finesse with those kayaks, and yeah, trying to paddle backwards, and it was an older kayak, so I didn't have any pedals or anything else like that to even help me. So I'm got one hand with a paddle and the other fishing rod, trying to back myself up just to get this fish out of the mangroves. It was interesting.
I just don't feel that comfortable with it. But, hey, what can I tell you? Who am I? All right, let's get Jim Pace.
Hey guys, this is Jim with your Pasco County Fishing Report. Just got back in today from a very busy day on the water, very windy. A lot of people were out today. Had a couple incidents with jet skiers. We're not going to go there. Anyways, as far as fishing goes, bait. Let's start with bait. Bait in the beginning of the week was easy to find, right around the same areas. You always find them at the Tiki Hut, all the way out at Anclote, all the way up to Hudson, all right at the mouth of any creek or canal. They were sitting there. But today and last Friday, it was tougher to find. Had to end up finding it in an area that I normally don't go to, in a little deeper water. It was stacked once I found it, but it was very scarce to try and get it. But once I found it, it was very good. The fishing has been really, really good. I've been out a few times this week. My son Lucas got on some redfish Friday. We caught numerous, probably 13, 14, I think, over 24 inches. A couple of them touching 27. Very good cut bait still up in the mangroves, pushing up in there. High tide, keep following the tide in. As you follow it in, just keep hitting the flats. Just keep trucking out and moving with it. Find some spots, find some areas. Usually points have been best so far. Also for trout as well. Been hitting those fairly well on the flats. Also 3 to 4 feet. Been getting those on white bait and paddle tails when I've just been trying to catch trout. They've been very good, 15, 16, 17 inches. No big ones, but overall a great number of them. Up and down any flat right now. Just try and find the bait, and once you find the bait, you can usually find the trout fairly fast. As far as snook goes, snook, still fun to try and find them. I came across them a couple times this week, canals, and on outgoing tide once again. Canals, anywhere where there's high flowing water, where it gets down into a smaller area. They've been sitting there, smaller still. Docks have been great as well. And then of course up in mangroves on the points. I got to congratulate a kid from our baseball team, Kenny. He actually got on a PB 31-inch snook last week. I posted that picture for you. I told him I'd bring it on here for him. Caught it on greenback. It was great fish. Mackerel, I didn't see mackerel this week at all. I know it's out there. I saw a lot of people fishing for them. I just didn't go trying for them because the wind was just blowing so bad. I didn't feel like playing in the wind. But this upcoming week, I'll take a look at the forecast and see what it brings as far as weather. If it may stay hot, may stay rain or wind, I don't know. It's been changing so much lately. I'm going to do my best to get out again and get you guys another report. But if you can get out there, have fun. Redfish, if you like catching redfish, get out there, catch some redfish. They are everywhere you go. You don't even have to be a great fisherman right now to catch a good redfish. So get out there, have fun, stay safe, watch out for jet skiers, because they're not watching out for you. So take care, have a great week.
Thank you, Jim.
I think we can all attest to that, Jim.
Oh God, I watch some of these YouTube channels, and these idiots trying to ride these boats waves, and they wind up on top of the boat, banging the side of the boat, and
Yeah.
well, that one guy from was it Chicago or somewhere that just killed 2 people a couple of weeks ago. I mean, being careless. I don't know.
Yeah. It's a shame.
It's really a shame. And let's see. Let's get your fishing report in, so then
Sure.
we can recap that.
That'll work.
Hey, good evening, Captain Mike Haynes out of Crystal River. Well, with the weather cooling off and the water temperatures cooling off, the fishing has just become phenomenal. We had a great week, just catching a lot of fish and seeing a lot of reports of the captains just bringing in some big hauls of fish. Anywhere from trout, redfish, and snook. You can pretty much catch your trifecta right now. They're all feeding quite a bit, and it's been quite fun. Catching all these fish, redfish, trout, and snook on artificials along with live bait or cut bait. They're just feeding heavily. So when you're out there, definitely have different types of bait and try different techniques, because one day they'll be hitting artificials really hard, and the next day they'll be hitting cut bait real hard or live bait. So definitely bring a variety of baits just to give it a shot, because with them heavily feeding, they'll just kind of, especially in these schools, they will, kind of pinpoint one thing over the other sometimes. And your catch rate will definitely increase if you have a variety of things you can throw at them.
Dave, that's incredible.
Snook bite seems to be better in the stained water than the clearer water. Redfish, it didn't matter. Stained water, clear water, they're catching them either way. The trout, they're up in the shallows. But you have to weed through the small ones, of course. But you can still catch some quality trout up in the shallows. Most of these trout, the big mass of them seem to be still a little bit offshore, waiting for that next cold front to come through before they really push in. But they're out there, they're heavily feeding, and just the numbers have been insane lately. The pictures and other captains I've talked to, some of my friends, they're just catching them left and right, along with some grunts and mangrove snapper out there on the rocks. The bite has just been phenomenal, and it's just our favorite time of year in the fall. Grouper are definitely moving out, moving a little bit more toward the shallows with the cooler water. Got a lot of reports of big grouper being caught in the shallows, anywhere between 3 to 6 to 9 miles out. They just seem to be piling into the rocks, which is a very good thing, because sometimes when we're bored, we just want to go out there and catch a few grouper, just get that big tug on there. And like I said, they're fun to catch. It's a great way to spend a little time waiting for a tide to turn if you can catch a couple grouper. So if you get a chance, get out there and have some fun with some grouper, with some redfish, with some trout, snook, mackerel have even been caught, grunts, mangroves. I mean, we pretty much have it all right now. It's just been very phenomenal, very fun. And it will probably continue this way until we get our real hard cold front. That's going to drop the temperature of that water down into toward the 60s. That's when it'll get a little tougher then. But until then, enjoy. Get out there, get on the water. It's a beautiful day. This is Captain Mike Haynes, Fishbones Charters out of Crystal River, Florida. We'll see you next week.
All right, Mike. It looks like, the trout action for the last 3 years has been really good.
Yeah.
It reminds me of some of the old days. And before I forget, remember that October 15th, Flounders closed. It will reopen December 1st.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people get excited about flounder, especially good sized flounder, but you can't catch them, guys. You can catch them, but can't keep them until the 1st of December. It's closed season.
Yeah, which will be fine for us, because they'll start moving into the river as well. So we'll be able to catch them off the banks of the river. So
And I guess that's because they're spawning, and
Mhm.
you want them to let them do their thing. And I did notice that we did catch a nice big one last week. We had a real nice big flounder, and that people wanted to keep him. I didn't want to, but what are you going to do? And I noticed that when I cut his belly, she had roe in her.
yeah,
So yeah, she
Yeah.
already had a bunch of roe in her.
yeah, it's that time of year for them. So yeah, we don't have a ton of them up here, but I wish we did. I wish we had a lot more flounder. You would think, just because of the hard bottom limestone and stuff that we have, but you just don't see a ton of flounder being caught. I think I've caught about 5 this year. That was about it. So
And we don't catch a lot down here either. I mean, a lot of the flounders that we catch is just it's a bycatch.
yeah,
You're fishing for redfish or something on the bottom or whatever, and that's how you get them. And it's not that we're going out for flounder.
Mhm.
But one of the other things that I notice about our area is, although it's late in the season, the mango snapper bite has still been very strong.
yeah,
Yeah, and now I think the real big ones are gone. They're gone deep now.
right.
But man, last week we had tons of 10 to 11-inch mango snapper. I mean, a ton of them,
Yeah,
which
that's
is
a good
kind of
eating
nice.
size.
Yeah, I like them more when they get to be about 13, 14. To me, that's ideal. But at least, I've had a lot of years where this time of the year, there's none.
Yeah,
And I mean,
Yeah.
last week, a couple of places we went to, I mean, they were actually becoming a pain,
yeah. Well, they are a pain for us in the wintertime. I mean, you can get on a place where you've got a bunch of trout and a whole school of those little nursery mangroves will get in there, and you can't find a trout again. You have to move because it gets so many of those mangrove snapper in the river. We have a ton of mangrove snapper here, but you have to go offshore to get the larger ones. So we got them here, but in the rivers, you're just catching a bunch of 6 to 8 inch, 6 to maybe 8-inch ones, just a ton of them. So
Yeah. All we could do is give it a shot, man.
yeah,
Give it a shot. And I don't know what the Bucks are doing, but I hope they win again tonight.
yeah, I'll be that's where my next
That's
my
right.
next job is, over there, just going to watch the game.
Yeah, I don't know. Hota, you going to be watching the game? Nah,
No,
nah.
not a Buck fan, huh?
I mean, and
Well,
Mike Evans is going to be, I used to love Mike Evans. And then after he pulled that one little trick about kneeling down, he kind of turned me off. And
yeah,
I think he got over that. But, at
Well,
least one thing, that quarterback never did get a job. I'm
Yeah.
glad about that.
Yeah.
It started the whole mess.
right.
He's been out of a job, and he's too old now to get a job.
Yep.
He'll make a
That's-
good water boy.
Yeah, there's always consequences for choices, but
That's
yeah,
right.
no, I'm a diehard Miami Dolphins fan, but unfortunately this year is just not going to be our year. I guess obviously it's a rebuilding year for them, so I'm rooting for Bucks now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I like Kansas City because of the quarterback, but
Mhm.
I don't know how they're doing. They're not doing that good this year, are they?
No, they've got some issues as well, and I think it has to do with leadership issues, not necessarily the coach or anything else like that, but I think they've got some egos happening, and I'm afraid that's what's happened.
That's not good.
No.
All right, everybody. So we want to thank you. Everybody can go watch the Buccaneers game. So do I. All right.
Yeah.
Take care. We'll hope to have a lot of good fishing reports. And remember, if you have anything, send it to Captain Mike Haynes or myself. Send us the pictures. We'll get it to Hota, and
Yeah, pictures with a story in it. Like, explain a little bit. Just send us a picture,
yeah.
explanation, and then
and the way to
we'll
get a
throw it up there
hold of
on the
us,
show.
just go to fishingadventuresflorida.com, and that's the website. And from the website, you can get a hold of us and send us the pictures. That makes it easy. Just go to fishingadventuresflorida.com and send us the pictures. And God bless everybody. And go Bucks.
Go Bucks! Thank y'all.
Take care.
Have a good week.